Joining me today is New Hampshire State Senator Lou D'Alessandro. So, Lou, I try to, with the politicians that come on the show, at least leave one segment to focus on a bill or a couple of bills that they're really interested in, right. And or talking about something that didn't make the headlines, right, but is actually probably really important, at least to their constituents. So I'll open it to you, and you know, what are the bills that you really are interested in personally?
I've drafted a bill, or had a bill drafted, to promote civic education in all of the schools in New Hampshire, because I found that even when the fourth graders come and visit the State House, and I talked to the fourth graders from my district, nobody really knows anything about civics. They don't know a heck of a lot about the government. We are the most ill-informed society in the world, and it manifests itself in the fact how we vote. So civics education became one of my number one priorities, because I taught civics. I taught civics at the high school level. And one of my students became Secretary of State. He's the longest serving Secretary of State in the history of the country. So at least I got to one person. I feel very good about that. So civic education, getting it passed through the Senate, where I've had difficulty in the past. We finally got it through.
What would be the pushback to civic education?
Well, the members of the Senate who were opposed to it say, well, we do that, we teach it now. I said, we don't teach it now. That's why we're sponsoring the bill. So it was that negative feeling about why do we need another piece of legislation when we already do it? Well, we didn't do it. We weren't doing it. So we finally got it passed. Then in the House, there's a little rigmarole as to how it would be done, and how it would be part of the curriculum, and would it cost any more money? And no, it didn't cost any more money. So we had to get over that hurdle. And anytime there's an appropriation attached to something, you run the risk of a bill being defeated. So we finally got that through. It was on the consent calendar in the House, and I'm sure that the governor will sign it. So that was a pivotal point for me, because I think people have to be more informed about how this government works and what the connection is between the locals, the state, and the federal government. I get more calls about Social Security. Well, I don't handle Social Security. That's a federal situation. I can't fix it. But I tell people, you've got to call your federal representative. That's your member of the House or a senator. So there is confusion, and hopefully this will help take care of that. So that was a really important piece of legislation for me.
How will this play out a year, 2 years from now, from a pedagogical perspective? Is it civics K through 12? Is it left to each school district to figure out how to handle? How will we, when the rubber meets the road, right? What will it look like?
Hopefully it will be integrated on a K through 12 basis, and each district will handle it as they want to. But indeed, they'll do it. That's the important thing, because the basics are the same. You vote, you elect. This is what the people do. You can't change that. Now, how you sell it, that's really up to you. But you're going to do it, which I think is the most important.
And so there's going to be I mean, it's part of U.S. history. I would imagine it'll be woven in a lot of places.
Yes, that's correct. That's how it'll be.
But the fourth graders will still be coming to the State House.
They're going to come to the State House, and they'll visit. They're the greatest thing we got going for us. I'll tell you that.
So, in addition to the civics bill, are there other things that you're kind of keenly focused on?
I'm focused on a trust bill. About 10 years ago, we decided to make New Hampshire the best place in the United States to locate a family trust. And why? Because it's an economic plus. Good jobs are brought into the state. The ability to bring a lot of money into the state. And we've satisfied that. And we were written up in the Wall Street Journal and a number of other periodicals as the best place in the country. And these are non-depository trusts. So we've worked on that bill, and we keep refining it every couple of years so that we remain the best place in the country to do things. So we've created hundreds of jobs.
So talk to me through what you mean by non-depository trust. Who would do this? Why would we want this? Why should I care about this?
Because it would be a family trust in which the family would bring its resources to the state, put it in trust, and the trust would handle it. We have some of the largest trusts in the country located in New Hampshire because it's a good place to keep the trust. The tax climate is appropriate, and with it comes jobs, accountants, lawyers, investment people. These are good paying jobs, and Fidelity has located in our state, I think, about 6,000 employees, and they deal with this type of investment. So it's been a very good thing for New Hampshire, and that's why we brought it to New Hampshire.
So is this like what people say, it's a Delaware company? Is it sort of like that?
Delaware's a big competitor, sure.
So we're really saying, if you have a family trust anywhere, whether you live in Texas or Washington State,
Right.
get to New Hampshire.
Get to New Hampshire, exactly. And we can use your business.
Okay, well, Senator, we're out of time,
Well-
but thanks so much.
Oh, my pleasure. Great to be with you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining us for this edition of Capital Connections, your weekly access to politics and policy along the I-89 and I-91 corridors and how it impacts your life in our region. If you've got an idea for a future show or a comment, why don't you send me an email? But in the meantime, stay tuned next week for another edition of Capital Connections.